Intuitive. I'm so excited to be connecting with you guys today for our tarot and astrology mashup. And I've got my fabulous cohort, Dwayne from In the Stars. Say hello, Dwayne. So excited to have you here.
Hello, I'm excited to be back. I love doing our quarterly little readings, and we have so much fun, and it's amazing how accurate they are.
Yes, I was listening to our last quarter to kind of not like prep for this time, but it always helps me to remember what we did
Yeah.
last time in terms of format, to kind of get me in that mode. And I'm listening to it and I'm going, holy shit, that actually, there was this and then there was this. And oh my God, I'm seeing it sort of playing out in my life. And that's why I love the tarot and astrology mashup because, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, the astrology is really helpful because it's not predictive per se, like the way my psychic stuff comes through. It's kind of like the blueprint of what potentials are going to transpire. So it gives you an idea of what's coming up. And then as you're going through it, and then on reflection on the other side, you're like, oh my God, this happened as a result of this, which was, what was reflected in the astrological blueprint. And it's like it gives you a gift on the way in and it gives you a gift on the way out.
Yeah, it almost feels to me it's like the weather report. Like it says it might rain tomorrow. Chances are very high that it's going to rain. So make your plans accordingly. And so that's kind of what this kind of does. It says, this time, for instance, July is an emotional time for many people because we're in Cancer. So it could be an emotional time. So prepare yourself for any emotional stuff you might have to go through, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I love that because it really is about prep. I have so many clients. Obviously, I'm a psychic. People call me and they're like, I want to know what's happening. Give me the predictions. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, we're in a time where it's about potentials and possibilities. It's not your future is set in stone and it's one particular way. But wouldn't you rather know what those potentials and possibilities are so that you can say, I don't want that to happen, so I can make a different choice. And the astrology says, listen, here's how your choices are going to affect you, or here's what you're going to be experiencing. So use this when you're making your choices so that you don't, like make a mountain out of a molehill, or you don't blow up over something that really doesn't need to be, that dire. Or sometimes there is something big and deeper, and you get the opportunity now to do that deep dive preparation.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a guideline or something to even just start thinking about, because they're like ingredients for a recipe. Because with or without astrology or tarot, you can manifest, you can focus on things, you can make things happen. But when you have a conversation with somebody, whether it's a tarot expert or just a regular person on the street, and you say, what do you think about me? What do you feel for me? And it gets you on a certain thought process, then you can be like, okay, this is what I want, not what I think is going to happen, but what I want to happen, and focus on that. So either way, it gives you some type of a guideline to start your thought process with,
Could not have said it better myself, Dwayne. It's delicious. And I love that you said we don't need tarot and astrology to manifest and to live our lives.
Right.
But the tarot and astrology helps bring awareness so that we can be present with our choices. It's an empowerment tool.
Yeah, some people get really black and white about it, and they're like, I believe in it, I don't believe in it. And I'm like, I always say, I don't believe in anything. I believe that things happen that are unexplainable, and until it proves itself to me to be completely wrong, then I go with it as an ingredient in my manifestation, process.
Yes, I always tell clients, listen, psychic guidance is not the be all and end all. It is another tool in your toolkit to help you to put different ingredients into the recipe that you're making so that you come up with the item that you want. You know,
absolutely.
That is going to be the most delicious and the most satisfying.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You kept me hanging. I high-fived you, so you got to high-five. I was, the Virgo in me and the OCD in me was like, okay, we're uneven. We're uneven. You left me hanging. All right, so we're going to start things off today. I'm pulling cards from the Magical Dimensions Oracle. This is a really cool sort of, it's by Light Star. It's a very cool sort of, it's got galactic energies. And I don't know what you're going to say in the coming months about galactic energies, but I'm really feeling that what's sort of transpiring in this quarter is more of that galactic energy becoming more mainstream, or making itself obvious, making itself known in this energy. And I feel that there's a lot of preparation that is occurring at this time. So I decided we were going to do that Magical Dimensions. And then of course, at the end, we're going to pull my favorite sweet ass affirmations to get us for the month. So July. Oh, this is interesting. We've got isolation, loneliness, reconnection, and home.
Ooh.
And what I'm feeling here really strongly is the reconnection in the home space. How many of us, I mean, let's look at the last 5 years. There's been so much isolation, COVID, and then coming out of COVID, people don't know how to be. People don't know how to behave with one another anymore. And we're having to reevaluate friendships, relationships, community. We're reevaluating how we, buy food at the grocery store. We're basically co-creating and reinventing life as we know it. And that can feel extremely isolating, even though we're all kind of doing it together. We're doing it together in our own little separate ways. And so I feel like July is inviting us, and how interesting, home and Cancer, they're about the home.
Yep.
I feel like it's an invitation to make the outside world your home, like to extend your home, to bring community closer to your home. Now, if you're an introvert like me, you're not going to want to invite every, cotton picking person into this freaking home space. You want your home space to be your own.
Yeah.
But what measures are you taking to open your life with other people? Are you going out and making new friends? Are you opening yourself to maybe some volunteer opportunities? Are you trying to do some new things that bring a bit of freshness and lightness to your life? Because that's how you break out of the isolation piece. It is a time where we need to break out of isolation. We need one another. I'm also getting a hit on finances this month, where I feel that word isolation is standing up, where we need to kind of isolate our finances. Now, this isn't a dun, 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 scary, do radical, things and be extreme with your money. That's not what this is about. It's more of a taking an account of where your monies are, where your monies lie, and recognizing it's not about not sharing, but it's recognizing, okay, what is in my scope of responsibility? Because if I'm not being responsible with what I have, the universe is not necessarily going to bring me more. So I feel like there's an added message to be a little more open to exploring what's there for you from a responsibility perspective, because you are going to be manifesting more, bringing in more abundance, bringing in more prosperity if you choose it. But if you don't choose it and you live in that space of fear or devil may care and everything is scattered, understand that the universe sees that. The universe is a tool. It's an energy, but it doesn't have a personality. It's a tool that we use, and it's going to bring about more of that scattered energy and chaos, because it's seeing that that's what you're wanting, that's what you're accepting, that's what you're living in. Yeah. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say about that, Dwayne.
Well, it seems to be that, and based on what you were just saying, it came up in my mind that, the universe is almost like a mirror. It will reflect to you what you're reflecting to it. And it will, if you are wanting something that's not necessarily good for you, it will grant that to you because it's what you want. It cares about you in the way that it wants to give you what you want. And you may not even know it. Like, for instance, when you're talking about financial matters, some people may focus on, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. And so when you're constantly saying to yourself, I don't have enough money, you're not going to have enough money. But if you say, okay, right now I may not have enough money, but what does it look like when I do have enough money? What happens when the money comes? What do I do with that money? How do I feel? What does it look like? When that happens, then the universe starts to say, oh, they don't want to be without money. They want to be with money and they know what they're going to do with it. So let me give them that reality. So that's the way the universe works, in my opinion, is it's a reflection of exactly what's going on inside of you. And it gives you what you want. Like you said, July, Cancer, going into this home, opening your heart kind of thing. It does have that opposite side of emotionality, sensitivity, worry about security, things like that. So again, if you're the kind of person, like you said, who's an introvert, who doesn't want to have a lot of people invading their space and all that kind of stuff, the key will be focusing on not what you don't want. You don't want people invading your space. Focus on what you do want. Anybody who does come in should be of high quality, should be someone who you feel good with and who elevates you and who you elevate. And so that will make the entire experience positive, because now you're not focused on what's negative about what might happen, but you're thinking about what's positive about what will happen.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's exactly how we are stepping into that. And I said about that galactic energy, we're stepping into a new way to live our lives. And it's a new energy frequency that we have available to us. And we have to shift our minds in order to be able to take advantage of it. If you choose not to, that's all fine and good. You can sit in the struggle. You can stay in the struggle if you want, but there is another option available to you. That's amazing. What are some of the key dates in July that we need to pay attention to?
So in July, and I just pulled it up, all of the astrological events, and it went away on me. So let me just pull it up again, 24. And so in July, it's going to be July 20, no, it's July 5th. We're in June still. So the new moon, July 5th, is a good time. And you can really look at the night sky, because you can see, without the bright moon around, you can see a lot of the stars and things, kind of like where I am here in the universe. But that is the time to really make those changes, to make your intentions clear, to decide what you want financially, home-wise, career, all of that kind of stuff. If you are someone who is a fire sign, it's the time to do what you need to do. If you're a water sign, it's the time to feel what feels right. If you are an air sign, it's the time to start thinking about what you want to happen. And if you are an earth sign, it's the time to see things starting to happen based on what you thought of before. So the earth signs have a little bit of a jump, because they're usually right on top of things. They don't mess around. Like the earth signs they know what they want immediately, and they're very practical. And so they will see the fruition of their thoughts and their desires around July 5th. On the 21st, we have something that's called a buck moon. It signifies the new antlers on the emerging of the bucks that are, on their foreheads. And so that's where that name, the buck moon, comes out. But that is, and that's July 21st. That's at the changeover to Leo. So where that comes, a lot of emotional kind of letting go, emotional relaxation, because the Cancer part is very emotional but doesn't like to show it. If you think, I think of Cancer as the moon itself, and I think of it as the mother and the mother energy. And so if you can imagine a mother with her child who is sad, doesn't want the child to see her being sad. She wants the child to think everything is fine. And so that's that energy that comes through. And specifically for Cancers, that's where you're going to be. You're going to be having these feelings, and you're going to be like, I don't want people at work to know. I don't want my loved ones to know. I want everyone to think everything's fine because I don't want to cause any problems or waves, or rocking the boat. So that relaxation comes on the 21st of July. And then there's something really cool. Mercury is at its greatest elongation in the east on July 22nd. So the very next day, and that's good news for Geminis, especially, or if you have a Gemini rising. It's a good time also to see Mercury. You can actually spot Mercury in the sky at that time.
Oh, wow.
It's the farthest distance from the sun in the evening sky. So you'll be able to see it. And so because the sun kind of like lights it up. So that's communication for everybody, including the Geminis, but mostly the Geminis. It's communication, it's openness. So if you can imagine, you want to throw a party, don't do it on July 20th, do it on July 22nd. That's going to be the time to really invite everybody, have a good time, all that kind of stuff. So July looks fun. It looks interesting. There's a lot going on inside, but when you get to the end of the month, things open up and explode.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I was writing down what you said about the air signs and the earth signs, because that's where I really kind of identify as I'm a Virgo sun, then Gemini and Libra rising, and then I've got air signs in everything. Like all of my planets are in the air. So
you're earth and air.
Yes,
so you usually have the practical thought, and then you let it fly all over the place, and then you're like, let me think about this and this and yeah.
and then I bring it back in. I think that's honestly, I think that was the method to my madness when I was up in the ethers floating around, choosing this particular blueprint. Is I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be floating around doing all the fun stuff. So I need to have at least one earth quality to help me actually manifest the things that I've come here to do. So oh, that's great. That July just feels really, really delicious. It makes me nervous whenever we're in a water sign, because for me, I don't care about. I don't care to cry. I don't care to, I feel deeply, but I don't. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't enjoy the Scorpio deep dive, right? I mean, I do it, and I'm all in, but I don't enjoy it. So whenever we're in, a water sign, I get a little nervous, like I brace for impact, because I'm like, oh boy. So the way that you described it kind of makes some sense, that I'll probably just kind of play my cards close to my chest and sort of allow things to unfold. And maybe that's the best way to do it. Yeah,
well, when someone has all that air in their chart, what might help you is setting the intention of dealing with that emotion, but in a thoughtful way that allows you to kind of romanticize it, and that will help your feelings of it. So basically, if you, let's say you're feeling emotional, you're in the time of a water sign, but you have a lot of air signs, if you can meditate on, why am I feeling this sadness, this whatever it is, and allow that to kind of expand, it will work itself out that way. If you allow the earth part of it to constantly want to hold it back, to make it say, no, it's not there, I don't want it, it just grows and grows and grows and grows. So the air signs need to allow things to process through their mind and then let it kind of dissipate away. The earth signs hold everything back, and they try to hold it back until it pops through and it starts growing anyway. So
and then you feel completely out of control, because we're like,
and then the shell breaks, and it's breaking, and that's what you're focusing on, is the pain of the shell breaking, rather than the thoughtfulness of, this is happening, let me just allow it to happen, allow it to be free, and then it goes away. It's like the saying, that which you love, if you let it free, it will come back to you,
Yes.
So
it's the Hanged Man in the tarot, the Hanged One. It's surrender. Pause and breathe. radical acceptance, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is, right? You're not going to change it. So you might as well just take a moment to stop and smell the roses
Yeah.
and allow it to unfold organically. And, easier said than done. I can say this all day long, but then when you're in it, you feel a little bit differently. But no, that's hugely helpful. And for those of my fellow air signs, or people with a lot of air in their chart, like me, yeah, like
Meditation is the number one thing for the air signs. It's got to happen in the head, or it can't happen anywhere else.
yeah.
With the earth signs, they can make things happen without even thinking about it. They can say, this needs to be done, I got to get it done, it's done, blah blah blah. The air signs need to get it thought out in their brain first, and then work it out into the world.
Yeah, so true. All right, let's take a look at August, tapping into Leo and Leo season. Our card is, oh, this is beautiful, Celestial Assistance. Didn't I say we've got some galactic stuff?
Yes.
Angelic messages, guidance, and enlightenment. The thing I'm drawn to on the card actually is the 5. 5 is transformation, shift, change. And everybody's sick to death of talking about the fact that we're all in this major shift and change, but it is the Phoenix, and 5 is the number of the Phoenix. It is an invitation for us to really break through, to, I want to say, embrace transformation rather than dread it and wish it was something else. It's about embracement of it. And what I'm feeling here in August, when we're looking at this beautiful celestial assistance, is that, yeah, there's going to be awareness and attention paid to the way that you're shifting, the way that you're changing, sometimes in uncomfortable ways, sometimes in very intentional ways, sometimes in ways that are unexpected. The beauty of it is we have that celestial guidance. So I feel that, whether you are an angel person or not, the way I'm going to talk about this is not necessarily angels as people or beings. Let's talk about it as energy. That angelic energy comes through. What does that angelic energy do for us? It calms things. It tempers things down. I'm hearing the Temperance card in the tarot, which actually also was one of the 3 angel cards in the major arcana. It's an energy that says everything in moderation. Everything is going to be all right. Let us comfort and support you. Let us lift you up. Let us not interfere, but let us remind you that everything that is happening and all the things that you're witnessing, as well as the things that you're participating in, are meant to be. I like to say there's a method to the madness. I don't know that the angels would say that in quite that way, but there's a method to the madness. So I'm hearing the word trust coming through, trusting in the process, understanding that, yes, major shifts. And I feel on an individual level, each of us is going to have something that comes up. And it might just be like a day of intensity. It could be the whole month of intensity. It could be the beginning of a cycle of intensity. But each of us is going to have something that we're really going to be active in transforming. And I'm hearing very clearly, we all have free will, but the thing that's showing up is not really going to give us a choice. It's like I say, change. Some change, you can see it coming a mile away, and you've got time to push it off a little bit, or to make shifts to make it work for you. And then there are other times when the shit is here. You're not changing the change. The only choice you have in it is how you choose to interact with it, right? To choose to respond to it or to react. That's what this feeling is here, is there is going to be this major transformative experience that you're faced with. And the angelic energy is coming through to say, we got you. Don't forget to ask us for help, or don't forget to tap into. It's not even asking for help right now as much as it's don't forget to tap into that energy. It's all around you. It's not even like you have to ask for it and seek it outside of yourself. It's like drawing it in. And I'm seeing, as you were talking about meditation, Dwayne, I see us kind of closing our eyes and visualizing we're the vacuum, and we're sucking in all of that angelic energy into our bodies. We're upping our light quotient within our bodies in order to be able to navigate the transformation from a place of no fear, fearlessness or no fear. No, it's not fearlessness. It's no fear. And how powerful. If we had now, fear has its place. Sometimes we need, little babies need to be fearful of the stove and things like that. But once they have that experience, ooh, I touched the burner, that's hot, I'm not going to do that again. They've learned, right? I'm not talking about that level of fear. And I'm not talking about the intuitive, okay, I need to stay away from this. I'm talking about the ego-based fear, that fear that says, whoa, 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 whoa. You're about to make a big shift and a big change. And wait a second, we want everything to stay the same. Like, we can't do this. Stop. Yeah. Imagine what your life would be like. Imagine, I always say, oh, the places you'll go if you had no fear and you just said yes to the adventure, yes to the opportunity. That's what you're being invited to choose in this month. Dwayne.
Well, it all makes sense because we're going into this fire sign Leo, and fire, like you said, it's all about the change. Once it starts happening, like if you imagine building a fire, the fire is nice and neat wood, everything's nicely placed, and then you light it, and as it burns, pieces fall and things come apart. And that's the way the fire sign times work. And so if you are a fire sign, you're going to be open to that. You're going to be more adventurous about what's happening around you. You're going to be trustful because throughout your life that when you've trusted at the change, that it usually has come, come around for something positive. If you're a water sign and you're coming out of that emotional part, you might be worried about it, but you might also understand that it's such a change from what you're used to that it gets more into the ability to process it. Like you said too, everything in moderation. Well, Apollo had a saying, everything in moderation, including moderation. So those of you who might be very good at that moderation part, it might be time to take a break from the moderation for a little time and to be moderate about that. That's all fire signs stuff. When it comes to the earth signs, they're going to be resistant to it, but because it's a beautiful time of the year, depending on where you are, they will get around it because they realize that, their career and practicality is the biggest thing on the mind of the earth signs. But they can appreciate the beauty and the fun and the party aspect of this time of year. So that's great. The water signs, like I said, they're going to be more open to it. The air signs are all about it. The air signs go into this fire sign season as though it's like the most beautiful time of the year for them, because they love beauty. They love to be surrounded by flowers and beautiful things and people wearing bright clothing and that kind of stuff. So I think each of the signs or each of the elements that rule the signs will have its own kind of situation, but it's really good in the time of Leo. And Leo is the sun, whereas the Cancer is the moon, Leo is the sun. It's all about the color gold, metallic gold, sparkles, things like that. So this is the time to really make things happen. If you have an idea or a thought of something that's kind of out there, like I want something big to happen, that's the time to set it up for. And again, party season. So if you're going to have a party, do it during the Leo season.
I love it. Any specific astrology dates that we need to pay attention to in August?
Yes, August 4th is the new moon, and that's a great time again to start new things when it comes to the fun, fiery aspect of life. So if you're making something, putting on an addition to your house, having a party, starting a new job, meeting someone new, all of the new stuff happens around August 4th is the time to really get that stuff in motion. And then on the 12th and 13th, we've got the Perseid meteor showers. And what that can bring about is a lot of thought processes that will come in handy at the end of the year. So these are things that will come to you, ideas, things that you may have not even thought about before, and they start to make sense. So like, let's say you're during this meteor shower, it might be a time that something comes to you that you hadn't even thought of before, like, if I replace that door, it won't squeak so much. Why didn't I think of that before? Those types of little things just start coming at you. Especially if you're an earth sign, you're gonna get a lot of information about things that will help you to make things a little bit easier for yourself. The fire signs will already be in it, and they're not gonna even notice the difference because they're gonna get all this stuff anyway. The water signs will get a good amount of it, and the air signs may be so busy partying that they're not sure what's going on, but but I think everybody's gonna have a great time this whole month. And then on the 14th, Mars and Jupiter pass within 0.31 degrees of each other, which Mars and Jupiter, that's war and success. So that is the time, if you are needing to do something at work where you need to go ask for a raise, you need to have it out with that coworker and hash out whatever you need, that's the time to do it. Work and any kind of conflict, all of that stuff can be easily settled around the 14th. The 19th, we have the blue sturgeon moon. So that's going to be interesting. The reason they call it the sturgeon moon is because it's when the sturgeon, I guess, mate and are most fertile or something like that, but it has nothing to do with fertility and astrology. All it means is that it will have an effect on how you give yourself the okay to move ahead with certain things. Again, it's that mothering kind of energy, like, no, you can do it. It's kind of like talking to yourself like your mother would talk to you. Mom, I don't feel like I want to go to this party or whatever. No, you can do it. You're strong enough. So it's kind of like the time to give yourself that pep talk. Yeah. Exactly. And then finally in August on the 28th, when we're in Virgo, we have the Sushishian, I can never say it right, Sushinshian comet comes through. And it is, that's the beginning of it. That's the closest point to the sun. So that has another Leo kind of aspect to it, which means you may see old friends come back. You may see old flames, lovers, friends, people you haven't seen for a long time communicating with you, talking to you, and trying to invite you places, saying, let's do something together, those types of things. So just keep that out in mind.
Wow. So I've very much been in the school of thought, especially the last 6 months, the messaging that's been coming through from our guides is let the past go. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do a little rabbit hole here with you based on what you just said. And of course, it's, use your discernment on an individual basis. It doesn't mean that every past person that comes back is necessarily bad, but there is this school of thought that the past is the past. Why would we want to dredge that up? Why would we want to bring that back? What are your thoughts on that?
It's not even up to you. You may just turn around and see a message in your Facebook Messenger that says, hey, it's me from 10 years ago, and then it's up to you to decide, do you want to respond? Do you want to entertain that person? But it goes back to what we were saying earlier. If you love something and you let it go and it comes back to you, then it loves you too. So if these people or person is coming back to you at this time, it's up to you to decide, do I even want to delve into that? So it ultimately it comes down to what you want, but these things will come at that time.
Interesting. I was not expecting blast from the past stuff to come up.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful. Wow. Yeah. All right, well, let's dive into our Virgo season now, tapping into September in our third quarter. Oh, this is fun. We've got the crown portal, divinity, unity, and separation, and it's a number 8. So, interesting that 8 is actually the number of August, right? The number for August, the Leo number. September is 9, or Virgo is 9. But this is really interesting. The crown portal, of course, is our crown chakra. This is where we receive all of the juicy tidbits. It's our connection to source energy. And I'm feeling like September is really bringing about this, I almost want to say everyone's going to feel a bit of a burning in their soul, or a kind of a fire in their soul, to go into that, what I call the self-awareness journey, or the spiritual deep dive. The who am I? Who am I becoming? Not so much about the what is my purpose, from the dun dun dun, what is my purpose perspective. I think we overdo that a lot. But from the perspective of, are the choices that I'm making for myself right now serving a purpose? It might not be the purpose, but it's okay to evaluate, is what I'm doing serving a purpose that is in alignment and harmonious with what I'm trying to achieve, or where I'm going, or how I choose to contribute to the world. I feel that a lot of us are going to be kind of in an evaluation space here of, is this the right call for me? Am I doing things that feel aligned with the overall connections? And of course, Virgo is a sign of service. I'm sure, Dwayne, you're going to tap into that. But the crown portal really feels like this is what's stimulated. And yes, we have physical lives to live. We have, I call it the 3D world, where we have to pay our bills and do our laundry, and, the dishes and laundry and all the rest of it. But there's really a call to step it up in terms of, am I feeling like what I'm contributing is on point? Am I feeling connected with my own version of source energy? Am I accessing that energy? Am I using that energy? Am I just keeping it for myself? Am I sharing it out with the world? No right or wrong choice there, more of an evaluation to make sure that you can answer those questions. Because I'm feeling like most of us have kind of gotten away from that a bit. And that's kind of normal, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. We are in our summer season. And so summer is the time to take vacations and to travel and to, lessen up on, or lighten up on the work portion of it. What I'm feeling here is we're learning now to incorporate all. It's about wholeness. I've been talking about this for years. We're coming into wholeness. That doesn't mean that we aren't whole already. It's our perception, how we choose to live out in the world. We feel, I feel like I'm missing this, or I feel like I'm lacking that. And those feelings help us to bring awareness to the fact that we are whole. We already have everything that we need all here within us. But if we're not paying attention to that, we're not listening to that, we're not paying attention to that awareness, or we're not applying that, it's, what do I say? Wisdom is a nothing burger unless you freaking apply it. It's not going to do any good for you. So crown portal is coming through in the month of September for all of us to really say, where am I at in my journey? Is it where I want to be? I want to be able to have some concrete knowing just for myself. You don't have to, shout it from the rooftops unless you're so inclined, but it's that understanding and knowing of, this is who I am, and this is who I'm becoming. And it's not a judgment call, or right or wrong, it's a knowing. Because when we know, then we're able to really enact and activate those dreams, goals, and desires. We're able to live fully in our joy. Now, they talk about divinity, unity, separation here. I feel like the separation is what I'm drawn to, because we are already whole, but we don't always acknowledge it. So this is an opportunity to acknowledge that we're not separate. You know, the separation is an illusion. It's an illusion because that's part of the game of life that we're playing. But really, part of the game is to know that it's a game, right?
Yeah.
So the illusion is the separation. The reality is the wholeness and the contentment. And that 8, mastery. We are on a path of mastery. We are on that ascension path. And September is going to bring a lot of awareness to that.
Yeah, well, like you said, going into that Virgo, which is the earth sign. So we went from July, Cancer, water, August, Leo, fire. Now we're September, Virgo, earth. And that concrete, like you said, that desire to have a concrete understanding of what is happening. And Virgo is the sign of organization, of categorization. So that means, especially on September 3rd, when we have the new moon in Virgo, that is a time to categorize and organize all of those things you said. What am I doing? Who am I in the world? What do I want to do? Who's around me? Who's good? Who's bad? What's good? What's bad? What job am I doing? All of that categorization and organization comes very easily at that time, and it feels good. It wouldn't feel good in August. It would feel like I need to be out doing something in August. In September, it's like, okay, let me really just sit down comfortably and think about, okay, what am I doing? How are my finances? Where are my shoes? All of this kind of stuff. So that's the kind of thing that happens during Virgo. Like you said, it's also a service sign. And it's also the tarot card, the Hermit. So it's about spending time with yourself and becoming enlightened about who you are and what you are in the world. So if there's going to be a time, and especially till the end of the year, that you're going to spend time with yourself, by yourself, understanding yourself, that's the time to do it, is in September, especially if you're a Virgo or an earth sign. If you're a water sign, it might be a good time to work out the feelings that you're having, not necessarily your shoes or your environment, but more why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling that way? And kind of working those things out. If you're an air sign, it's going to be a great time to really think about and understand mentally, categorically, where you are and what you're doing. And then if you're a fire sign, it's a time to get all that stuff done, to categorize and universalize and organize everything physically. So getting those things worked out, cleaning out the garage, getting the new car cleaned or the old car fixed up or whatever it is, everything organized and categorized. When it comes to what's going on in the universe, on September 5th, Mercury is now at its greatest elongation west, whereas in July it was at its greatest elongation east. It's another communication situation, which is a good thing. I always think they're all good situations. So the elongation west is, again, just bringing up, it's where people may be communicating with you, maybe starting the communication with you, like, hey, I really want to talk to you about this situation we had at work last week. Or, hey, when we had that party, I didn't like the way this happened or whatever. So keep that in mind. They may seem negative communications, but they're actually to work out and to organize relationships, to situate what's going on in all these situations. And then on the 18th, we have the super harvest moon, which kind of in astrology brings us to the first bits of fall, not officially, but that's the time to start harvesting those thoughts and ideas that you categorized and organized at the beginning of the month. So start making plans for October and November and December, to make sure that everything is kind of worked out and ready to do what it needs to do. And then, of course, the 22nd of September is the actual equinox, is the fall autumnal equinox. And so it really does start then. So just a couple days before, it might become clear, what has come of the previous 8 months or 9 months and 10 months of life, and it'll become clear, and it'll give you that pathway for the final quarter, which then will we'll let you know about in our next quarterly. Right?
Uh, absolutely. Wow. So, being a Virgo, September, and I'm a September Virgo, September is always a really kind of prominent time for me, not because of the birthday, but I find it's the energy, it's my solar year. And
Yeah.
I always feel I'm just reflecting as you're talking, I'm reflecting on the last 4 years. Every year I've launched something and it's always been in September. And from a marketing perspective, perhaps that's not the best time, to launch things, but on my own energetic calendar, that's where things really come alive. That's where I want to say that harvest
Yeah.
happens. Like, okay, I've done all of the work and now I'm putting it out into the world.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see, and I've got some things percolating in my brain right now.
Yep.
I've been working on some things, so I'm wondering if the same thing is going to happen, if history repeats itself, where that's concerned. But that actually feels really good. I feel like overall this particular quarter, not that any other quarter has been particularly bad. They all have their ups and downs, right? And their bumps and bruises as well as the joys. This one actually feels, the word that keeps coming to my mind is smooth. It feels smoother, like we're all kind of really present with what's transpiring and maybe being a bit more of an observer in our lives while we're also in the act of doing. Do you
It's almost like this quarter is all about working things out emotionally, then physically, and then outwardly into the universe. So it's like, emotionally you get things worked out. Then physically you do your partying, your fun, your connection, your this and that. And then you go to the point where you're like, okay, I need to organize and categorize everything so that I can get things done for the future and make things work, energetically and all of that. So it seems like a nice, smooth, gradual growth into that, perception of things.
Love it. Oh my God, I'm excited.
Me too.
So our affirmation, you're going to love this. I rock out to knock my blocks out. I rock out
Nice.
to knock my blocks out. And you were just saying, we're working things out.
Yeah.
We're removing blockages. We're removing fears. We're evaluating truths. So let me just read the affirmation here. When you get stuck at a creative roadblock, move your sexy body and get your juices flowing. Creating motion in your body releases emotional blocks that may halt your progress. Blast your favorite music and wiggle those booty cheeks. Bust out your neon headband and yoga mat and stretch out your meat suit. Jump your partner's bones and get your boogie on. When you rock the fuck out, you knock your creative blocks out. Shake, rattle, and roll.
And see, that sounds like right in the middle in August during that Leo. That's totally Leo right there.
Yes. And what's interesting is there aren't a lot of black and white cards in this deck. But this is one of them. And I feel like it's basically not putting color in it because we're the ones who get to bring the color to the card. We're knocking out those extremes and we're saying, no, I'm going to choose to do this or this or this or this. I'm going to choose to bring the color into my life because the blocks are the extremes, the extreme fear, I've got to go all in or not at all. And there's no color in that. Or there's oversaturated color, there's burnout, in that, or there's laziness, apathy on the flip side of it. A brown, I'm seeing like gross browns, not warm, rich browns, just kind of gross greens, baby puke green and kind of thing. So I just wanted to point that out too. I feel like we are going to be bringing in our own color. Wow.
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up.
You can't.
Oh my God. So, all right. Well, Dwayne, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to connect with you on all the things that we do. We do your In the Stars with Dwayne mashup every month. We connect on the Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard time. And I always enjoy doing that. If you guys want to connect with us, Dwayne gives free readings.
Yep.
I do too, but Dwayne gives free readings, and we have a blast. We laugh our asses off all the time. So if nothing else, it lightens your spirits. But Dwayne, tell everyone how they can connect with you and what you got going on.
Sure, yeah. My website is DwayneLive.com, and I think that at this Virgo time is when I'll be launching a lot of ideas that I had even last year that I just didn't feel right about. So if you want to go and check those things out, go to DwayneLive.com. Especially November and December is when I'm feeling like things are going to really start to launch. So
Exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. As always, such a pleasure to connect with you. Feel free to click on the link in the description below to connect with me, to connect with Dwayne. We are always so happy to be of service. If you haven't already joined my completely free Black Feather community, please click on the link below to do so. It's a great community. You meet people of like-minded, like-hearted souls, and we do all things metaphysical, and it's a lot of fun. Take care, guys. Have an amazing quarter, and we'll see you next time. Transform
have a
well.
great quarter.